This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
A very good morning, everyone, and I hope you had a good night's sleep, or if it's day where you are, I hope you're having a wonderful time. It is very early in the morning. It is 6:30 East African time, and it is another perfect morning, beautiful morning. Everybody is happy, and I hope everybody is happy and you're ready on this morning's game drive. This morning, my mission is to show you as much as possible. Welcome, and my name is Isaac, and on camera I have Manu, and we are ready to take you on a game drive. Possibly we are going to LY Plains, see what happened last night with our lone male lion, if we can find him. After that, maybe look out for other stuff. But as you can see, it's about getting light, and it is really, really, really beautiful. The weather here is around 17 degrees Celsius and about 66 Fahrenheit. So it is quite cool and perfect for predators to be out. Remember to join me on live stream on YouTube, or you can talk to me on #SafariLive. Slightly later, my colleagues will be joining me to introduce themselves. But for now, I just urge you to sit there, sit back, relax, and let us take you on this morning's game drive as we try and find you as much as possible. I'm already quite far into the conservancy and ready to look out for anything. Back there was some elephants and some hyena, but at a far distance. I'm hoping to catch something as the light brightens up. I'm hoping to catch stuff, but you know, there's always something. Well, you know, it's quite cool for us here. 17 is quite, I would say, cold. That's why I'm dressed up like this. I don't know what would happen if I went somewhere colder, but it is perfect. I love it because the animals love it also. So I enjoy it a lot because I know there is something out there. I'm gonna turn here a little bit and then go left into the plains here. So when the sun rises, it's gonna shine on one of the ridges, and I'll be able to use my binoculars and shine at a distance and see what's happening. Much easier to pick up stuff with your binoculars. Last night there were lions roaring all over. Jane, yes. Yeah, on a game drive, it's a nice way to spend a Sunday morning. I hope you're going to have a wonderful morning, same as I. I've woken up and I'm hoping to have a good, long Sunday morning and a day. Yes, I was saying, yesterday there was hyena, there was lion, there was elephants. I had everything around Cap. It's a pity. Jamie, you asked me if we have meaties for little sausages. They're in this direction here. I'll be going there later. Hopefully I can find them. But last I saw two. She was with two, but the other ones I hadn't seen. So I'm hoping the same, Jamie. I hope, you know, they're still there. And we will try and unravel the puzzle this morning after I check out this area here. It's a lovely little area. It was full of game yesterday, so I don't want to ignore it because I also want to know more about this area. And this is where I turn off to go to my area that I'm thinking. Actually, I take this one. Yeah, it's a lovely plain. The grass is tall, but I'm hoping that, we're going to have somebody on top of a mount or walking. And then, yeah, it's going to be nice. That's what I'm hoping. It's called LY Plains. There's a clan of hyena here called the Happy Zebra. We don't know where they moved their den. I haven't seen their den for quite a while. But also there's plenty of nomadic big male lions, roaming around this area. Yesterday I saw one called Chumvi Chumvi. In case you didn't join me, he's a nomadic lion. He's in coalition with his brother, but I didn't see his brother. So I'm hoping, he was quite hungry. And the previous day, there was a lioness that I saw also. It looks very skinny, and it was looking for something. I'm hoping to find it today, hopefully before it brightens up. Okay, while I continue looking for something, let me link you down to Juma for my colleagues to introduce themselves.
Hello everybody and welcome to the tent this morning here at Juma Private Game Reserve, where we find ourselves on this Sunday morning. It is raining. Yes, it is raining, and so we are in the tent. My name is James Henry. It's very nice to have you with us here today. Sebastian Rombi is on camera. He will probably fall into one of the holes that has developed under the tent and break his ankles. So if you hear some loud swearing and screaming, that is the reason for it. Or a leopard has arrived in the tent, but the former eventuality is much more likely. Please talk to us, of course, using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Otherwise, you can use the chat stream on YouTube. I would like now, oh dear, it's gone already, to quickly look at what we found under the microscope. 1 second. I've lost it. There it is. Okay, let's go to the microscope if we can. Nina is helping us from Johannesburg today. It's gone into this crevice. Can you actually believe it? No, there it is. Are we on the microscope? There we are. Good stuff. Right, now we can see, oops, the daisies, a small insect walking towards the top of the screen. Now, it looks a little bit like a termite, but it almost certainly isn't, because its antennae are far too long. So your first task today is to try and identify this insect for me today. There it is, and it is now losing focus because it is moving up a slope somewhat. Excuse me, I'm just going to fling this microscope around a little bit. There we go. No, still not. Very difficult. Sort of. No, still not. There. No, there. No. I'm just going to lift it up a bit. Sorry about this, everybody. That should make it slightly better. Okay, there we have him moving around. Now, I actually can't see this thing with my naked eye. It's so small. It must be only about 1 millimeter long, if that. So I don't know what that is, and you're welcome to try and tell me. It is an insect of some description. It is definitely not a beetle. It is definitely not a bug. It is definitely not a mantis. It's definitely not a grasshopper. Chi-Chi, you say it's a louse. Maybe it's a louse. I didn't think that lice were insects. Are they? No, it can't be a lice. Lice, Nina, are many louses, and same as mice and mouse. Mm-hmm. So it's either a louse or it is a member of a group of lice, but it most certainly is not a lice. But I thought lice were not insects. Mary, you say a very tiny pearl ant. I'll tell you why I don't think it's an ant. I think its antennae are wrong. And I don't think that it is a hymenopterid. I don't think it's a member of the order Hymenoptera. So I don't know what it is. Let me try once more to focus on the beastly little creature. which is just in that awkward range that makes it very difficult on this microscope, because the focus ring has got a sticking problem, just in the range that we find this creature. There it is. So, not a louse, or maybe a louse. I need to look up something about lice when we go off air. Maybe that's what it is. Certainly, I wonder what it's eating. It looks to be scraping the top of this ivory. I need to look at. Oh, now we've got sound myself. So what we have is a warthog tusk, and that's what it's feeding on, or living in the crevices of. You can actually see straight through it. You see that? It's entirely translucent, which is quite fun. That is very cool. Right. Lisa, you want to know how animals in the wild deal with lice? Well, I think the same way they deal with most ectoparasites. They scratch quite a lot. I suppose if they were primates, they'd be allo-groomed by other members of the troop. But they don't have a major trouble with it like we do. The only reason we have trouble with it is that we don't really like the feeling of it. I mean, if you think of our ancient ancestors living in caves or knocking about the desert without the help of special anti-lice shampoo, they would have just dealt with it. They just would have lived with it. They would have scratched a lot when they became infected. Their natural defenses would have fought off those sorts of ectoparasites, but they would have been covered in them more or less permanently to a greater or less extent. So it's just the same out here. Whether or not this is a tooth louse of some sort, I am not sure, but I will do some research as we wait and see what's happening. Okay, maybe let's have a little look outside. It is brightening slightly. We might go on a little walk a bit later. I'm not sure. Please excuse what you're going to see here. This is just sheltering from the rain. We have got Oil Bag and Trishala here with us as well. And they will help us with a little bit of content, I hope, a little bit later. But you can see it is a particularly dim morning out here, with really not very much going on whatsoever. I can hear Sydney has got going. So hopefully we'll go across to him and see what's happening there in a little while. The sky does look like it's clearing slightly, so maybe we'll end up on foot. Megan, you're wondering why James is called Uncle James. I really can't tell you that. I think it's got something to do with Pauli. I resent him deeply for it, but I don't want to talk about that subject anymore at all, ever. Thank you. Right, we've got some Cape turtle doves calling. Paproo, paproo, paproo on the one side. A couple of orange-breasted bushshrikes, which often means that things will clear up a little bit, which I think is quite nice. So hopefully we will have some interesting birds and that sort of thing around here, and we may well get out on foot as it brightens. Right, well, that's all I have to tell you prepared-wise over here, so otherwise I think we should probably go and look for something. In the meantime, let's go across to Sydney, who is now ready to say hello.
A very, very good morning and welcome on board. This is Sydney Fumunani Mikosi, and I'm traveling with BK, who is my camera operator this morning. We are going to be looking for those interesting animals for you. I will be concentrating around Sandy Patch, Triple M, just to see if maybe we cannot be lucky with Shidulu and the cubs. For in case if you need our attention, you can follow us on Twitter, #SafariLive. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. So the rain has just stopped a minute ago. The ground is very much wet, and I'm very sure all the tracks we are going to see this morning will be the fresh tracks. It was raining heavily. So So I haven't picked up any fresh tracks of the morning, fresh tracks of the morning. So around the sandy patch, I'll go just deep in this block. So this is the block where we have seen Hukumuri as well 2 days ago. So the area where Shidulu is an area where Hukumuri was patrolling 2 days ago. I've just missed a question which was sent by a Christy just now. Christy, the last sighting for Tingana was somewhere around the Buffalo's Hook. Yes, he might be on his way back to this side. Maybe today is going to be our lucky day with Tingana back in the property. He has not been sowing for a while now. Maybe he's enjoying himself by the Buffalo's Hook side. But we want to see him back this side. So the weather is nice and cool. It's not that very cold. I am not sure of the amount of rain yet, but I'm sure during the afternoon show we will be having the information about how much rain we have received last night. But when checking the damage on the roads, I can see, yeah, it did rain heavily, but not a lot. So it was a thunderstorm. There was too much lightning. So our first animal of the morning, in front of us we have got a small head of impala. And I can see these impalas are not that very old. There's even a young male there you can see. So maybe this is part of the big breeding head. Others must be somewhere close by. The impalas, mostly when they're females, they normally walk in big herds. They are listening and concentrating, and some of them are looking at the western side and some are looking at the southern side. So maybe they are seeing something or they are hearing something. So the problem is their irritability, their hearing ability is very much good. These animals can hear and they can see very well. So I'm just trying to check if maybe they're going to guide me to anything in the area. The ears are every time moving, so they are really concentrating on something here. They're not feeding at all. Maybe they have seen something or they're sensing something. The smell is so very much nice here in the bush in the morning like this. I haven't even picked up any smell of droppings or anything. So the rain washed away all these other scents. Now all we are smelling is just the clean environment. So let me just pull forward here and see what is fascinating these impalas, because they are concentrating much more towards the sandy patch area. It's only the tracks here on the road, and they were checking something from this side. But I'm not seeing any other tracks coming their direction. So I don't have the sunrise here at the moment. It's overcast. So now we are going to the Masai Mara where Isaac is going to enjoy the sunrise with us.
Welcome back to the Masai Mara, and that is a beautiful work of nature. It is sunrise, but the sun is hidden somewhere behind those clouds. Of course, I won't complain because it is still very beautiful. A bit of mist, so we can't see as far as I would expect, but that is the lovely scene that I'm experiencing here in the beautiful Mara Triangle in Masai Mara. Of course, I'm surrounded by beautiful sounds that actually I would go quiet and you can listen to them and then you can try and identify who they are. I think there is about 5 different types of bird calls that I can hear. There is one that you can hear, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. That is a rufous-napped lark. And then there's one that's very vocal loud. It's going like a funny alarm going on. That one, I think it's a tiny cisticola. It's a grass dweller, very common here. And then there's one going. That is a cocky francolin. Different kind of call. And then there is one quite, far away. I don't know if you can hear it. I think it's a redneck sparfall. Yes, so actually I can identify 4. So, that is the kind of morning I get here sometimes, which is lovely. And here we have a beautiful herd of elephants. As you know, they never stop eating. They are still quite busy enjoying the soft grass. When I say soft, it was getting hard, but, with the rains about 2 days now, I think it's very soft. And sometimes I describe it as if they are eating spaghetti. It's just get in the mouth and just swallow. Mouth, swallow. And they are very spread out, always telling me that they're very comfortable, no worries in the world. Sarah, thank you for your comment. A day starting with elephants is a great day. Of course, it is a wonderful day to start with a gentle giant and see their lovely, slow motion, stunts. Everything about elephant is cool. The eating, the moving, the size. I always describe them as gentle giants. Of course, Sarah, thank you for appreciating the elephants and also nature. Yeah, these guys are constantly eating, as you can tell here, non-stop eating. Of course, it's one of my favorite animals. And I think, if I was to come back, if there is, that belief, I would come back as an elephant because, once you're big, you have not very many enemies. It's a beautiful life, just roaming this beautiful place, unspoiled. Everything about it is fresh. Yes, the backdrop there is the Syria escarpment, one of the most western walls of the Great Rift Valley. It's a huge fault that occurred quite a long time ago, and this is one of the farthest western wall that you can find in Kenya. Is it sandstorm? I don't know which trees you don't see. Maybe I'm still here. You could ask the question again. I don't know what kind of trees you're asking. Yeah, those are elephants there enjoying, Oh, Oh, you ask about baobab trees. Is it Francois? Thank you for your question. Baobab trees are more found in arid areas, at places with scarcity of water. That's where they are found. Over here, you know, the rainfall is much higher than in drier areas, so we don't find them here. Of course, if you had to go more towards the coast, then you would see, you would see baobab trees also in Tanzania, southern Tanzania. You would see them, but here we don't see them. Here we have more of the acacias and the balanite trees. Oh, the sun has decided to peep and take a look at us. Good morning, sun. It's nice that you've popped up. Yesterday you went away very quickly, and it's nice to see you again. I hope you give us a good long day. Yes, look at that. It's beautiful. Always wonderful to see the sunrise. I always say it's official that that new day, a new dawn has come, and it's wonderful. Look at that. Now I feel like I have extra energy to drive and look for more game. It's surety that, you know, I've been given another good day to look out for game, and I think I'm gonna do that. Beautiful, look at that. Okay, while the sign continues coming up, we're gonna take you back to James and see what he's up to in the tent.
Yes, indeed, we still find ourselves in the tent, but the rain has mercifully stopped for now, and so with any luck, we will head out probably at some stage. Now, I have been doing some research onto what it is exactly we were looking at, and while it most certainly is not a louse, I've looked at lice, and lice are in fact insects, so I'm sorry about that. I don't know why I didn't know that before. Very small order of insects. There's another equally small order of insects called the Psychoptera, and, well, included in the Psychoptera are something called book lice, and I think that that's what we're looking at there. A similar kind of a thing to a book louse. There we are. And I think that's a pretty good look at what we were seeing. There are a number of things in the order Psychoptera, that don't look like that, but that's what I think we were looking at. Some form of book louse. Anyway, it may well be not something like that, but it's just possible. It says here, sockids feed on algae, fungi, lichens, and plant or animal debris, and some are pests of stored products. Eggs hatch into nymphs and are initially wingless, but otherwise resemble adults. So it's probably a nymph of one of the sockids, they're called, sockids. Right, and I just also want to show you, if you just back off there a little, Seb, I want to show you the lice, because A, it's interesting to see their pictures, but B, it is also interesting to try and say the name of their order. 114. Now, there are the lice. You can see them there. And they don't look anything like they do, or like that insect that we found, you can see there. But most interestingly, of course, is this word at the top here. Can you say that? Thraptera. 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 Which startling human being decided that was a good name? Anyway, they are certainly not to be found on the tusks of a warthog, I don't think. Right. We'll just see if we can find it again. I've had absolutely no luck finding it again, but we might just have a quick look. So if we can cut to the microscope, that would be nice. And it's also quite nice to look at the textures of this tusk, especially the bits of gold, I think, which are quite impressive. Look at that. Well, this particular warthog, I think, may well have been a smoker, you can see there. But there is that gold. Can you see those little flecks of gold there? I wonder if that is actually gold. And I think what's happened is our book louse, or equivalent, has gone into one of these cracks. That is now cowering away from your gaze, everybody. Lots of silvers and coppers and golds. Also to look forward to this morning, Trishala is going to be doing some chemistry. And I know most of you have not come on Safari to see chemistry, but she's been doing a lot of research into the colours of various creatures and how they make their colours and how nature makes colours in flowers as well as insects and birds. So what she's doing, what she will do, is try and do some fancy chemistry around it. As with most of these things, unless they've been thoroughly practiced beforehand, they normally end up probably in skin burns, which will be just as entertaining as if they succeed or not. She has returned. So the next segment we will do some chemistry and see what happens there. Okay, shall we go outside again, Sebastian? Of a what?
I'm not sure. Bird nest.
I'm afraid all I got there, Nina, was can I look up a picture of a bleep bleep?
Prip.
A prip. A thrip. A thrip. I can show you a thrip. Sorry, no idea. I can't hear what's being said here. The thrip. Yes, okay, here we go. A thrip. We have found many thrips, and in fact we'll probably try and I can find you one again, because there are a couple of Waltheria flowers outside. Let me just go to the index again. A thrip. It's not a particularly impressive insect, I must just tell you. Where are they? One second, please. Slightly awkward, but we'll do my best. I think, is it 72? Let's have a look. This is a great book, by the way. I know we're not allowed to advertise things, but this really is a great book. Order, no, those are stone flies. Sorry, everybody, not having a greatly successful time. 1 second. One moment, there we go, 170, I found them. The order of Thynosoptera. Thynosoptera, there are the thrips. Fascinating. Yes. We'll try and find you some. They are quite fun to watch, knocking about the place if they're on a pretty flower. And they are, in fact, agricultural pests in many parts of the world, and one of the few creatures in the world that are able to reproduce by parthenogenesis. In other words, that's the female who's able to make other thrips by and without mating. Okay, viable thrips, which I think is very interesting. Okay, we're going to prepare our chemistry. I have no idea what's just been said to me, but we're going to do our chemistry experiment. We're going to Sydney with I don't know what.
What a magnificent kudu standing right on top of the termite mound. You can see the oxpecker has just arrived now in order to clean him. So you can see that he's very much relaxed, and it's not the only one. I saw another one, but the other one is much more deep in the bushes. Look at that. This is a beautiful picture. Look at the stripes there, nice and clear, and the mane behind the neck is also good looking. When the kudus are not in a good condition, you can tell from a very long distance. If you see that they've got fainted stripes, they've got a flat line behind the neck, it's a sign that they are lacking of some calcium. And that is when you will see them going in order to eat the bones of the other old dead animals in order to get some calcium. So I think this kudu is not that very friendly. You can see every time he wants to chase those oxpeckers. But they are very much beneficial to him because they are trying to clean off all the parasites attached to the body. Maybe he wants to concentrate and listen to what is happening to the surrounding, and those oxpeckers must be irritating him when it comes to that. So these birds, such as oxpeckers, they are so beneficial because they can be able to access the inaccessible area by the kudus themselves in order to clean themselves. Look at those beautiful horns. So they can complete a cycle of horns when they've got about 3 twists. So there's 3 spirals, shows that it's an old male. Look at that. He's listening to the other vehicles that are coming. Now I am not going to be alone by this kudu sighting. I can see there is another vehicle coming to join me at the moment. Don't get surprised when hearing the noises from the other cars. So I'm just going to give another driver a space now here to pass. Morning, how's it? Sharp, anything this side? Tingala tikui? Where? No. The lions, I haven't seen them yet. I didn't copy that question yet as I was still trying to gather some updates from another vehicle passing by. Stainless, the size for this kudu from the ground to the shoulders, let me just confirm that here I do have my manual with. I will give you an answer just now. The shoulder height of this kudu. So the shoulder height is about 140 to 155 centimeters. So that is very much tall. So you can see that it's still very much tall. Now he's looking at look at that. Look at those big ears. So these animals, they've got big ears because they are browsers and they've got to concentrate much more deep in these thick bushes. So the large ears helps them in order to collect a lot of sound so that they can be able to hear the predators approaching them from a long distance. So now let's quickly go back to Isaac, who is enjoying the beautiful sunrise and a bird.
Welcome back to the Masai Mara. I hope you've learned. You're learning a lot from my colleagues Sydney and James with the microscope and the kudu sightings. Here we have the Renex Powerful, and he's on the tree. I think he's trying to be dry as possible. That is Abalanites aegyptica trees, and he's using it as an advantage point to see everywhere and also keep his feet dry. And close to me here is a nice big jumbo. He's casually eating away as much as possible. I don't think he has reached maturity, so he's accumulating much weight as much as possible, because in elephants, size matters a lot. So he's trying to get as big as possible, and he's in a real estate area where, he's surrounded by beautiful nature. As Manu does his magic works with his camera, I'll try and only receive questions and let you enjoy what he does with his camera. At the same time, listen to the beautiful sounds that are surrounding us. You can pump up your volume a little bit because I'm going to go quiet. Mohammed, thank you for your question. Assalamu alaikum. Elephants eat up to around 250 kilos of grass in a day. That is a quarter of a ton each day. And the reason they do that is they have a very poor digestive system, so they need to eat a lot in a day. So they're constantly eating 18 to 20 hours of a day. Mohammed? Insects. Actually, if you ask, how many insects do I think they eat? I do say they do eat bugs unknowingly, because sometimes they'll pick up that grass and, they just put in the stomach, eat it away. So they do eat insects, but I don't know how many. They must eat quite a lot in this grass. And I think their system is, actually well adapted to digesting them, or also killing any bacteria if the insect carry the bacteria. Yeah, I hope answered your question. But this guy is quite big. You can see, the backdrop. He's got a beautiful tree behind him. He's a big guy. It's nice always to see these huge guys like this. Our bird is still there. Yeah. Amber, thank you for your question. You asked me, one task is shorter than the other. Of course, they tend to use one side of the task more than the other, and usually when you see that, it means that the shorter one is used more than the other. Otherwise, maybe it broke away during a fight, or when he was digging a tree that he underestimated the weight and he pushed the tasks too much, then it broke away. On this one here, I would say it broke away, the left-hand side one, because it's supposed to be as sharp as the other one on the other side. But you have to be careful when you're looking from a distance. Either it broke away or they've used it more than the other. They do wear out, just like when you're using a tool, they do wear out at the tip, and depending on which side you use, it's very much like our shoes. Some people wear them on one side, some people the other. It's very much with the elephants. They do wear them depending on which one they use more. This bull, I would estimate maybe he's around 25. He's still got another maybe 8 years to go before, he starts mating. They start mating at the age of around, 30, 35. It's a long time to wait, but once they reach that age, they can be in season almost, up to 1 year non-stop. And while, they're almost around 15 to 20, they actually roam around by themselves. Sometimes they join big herds of what we call bachelor groups, where, they give each other company until, they're big enough to go and try and find some girls. So he's gone behind me, and there's nothing much I can do but continue on. It is nice and bright now, which means I'm going to start using my binoculars. My aim is to go into those plains there that you can see, and then turn to the right. And hopefully, I'll find something for you guys up there. Yeah, it might seem very empty, but I tell you, sometimes you'll be driving and jackpot. So let's see, as I continue, what we can find for you. I know, there's a hyena den down this way. Sorry. You ask, if elephants ever lose a tooth? No, they don't lose teeth. Yeah, what happens is they wear them down. They have about 6 sets, and each set wears out about every 12 to 15 days. Every 12 to 17 years, it wears down. And actually, it's by eating they wear them. They never lose them. They just wear them down from grinding too much coarse grass and tubers. That's how, they wear them down. They never lose them. Yes, we continue on with these beautiful plains. This is an area where I have seen predators before, but it might be different this time, but I'm very positive that I can find something. The grass is not as high, so it's an added advantage for me. I can see farther. Every now and then I will stop and take my binoculars and have a look, see if there's something, for me to share with you guys. But, this is perfect country for, cats. Let's have a look, see if there's somebody around. Sometimes it is necessary to use binoculars because you can see further. Roxanne, good morning. I don't know what time it is there. I can only compare it with here. You asked me, why are all the trees the same over here? It is a specific tree called a desert date, and it grows with no leaves at the base. I think it's an defense mechanism and also an evolution where it's learned that if it's got too many branches, then it's gonna be destroyed by most antelopes. So it grows straight up and then forms that canopy at the top that is to gather as much sun as possible during the day. But also, if there is branches underneath, giraffes and elephants would eat them. So they've eaten off all the branches. Roxanne, that is the reason why we have them here. And we, they are like that. I'm looking all around. Very useful to look around. You might miss something if you drive just continuously. Okay, I'm gonna continue looking, and hopefully I can find something to you, for you. While I do that, let me send you to Trishala and see what she's got.
Hello everybody, how exciting. I have a mad scientist experiment prepared for you. I do quite like science and I do get a little bit mad and I love it. But I hope you all are well and you are ready to see exactly how color in nature works. So I found this super interesting. We were talking about colors in nature and the way that birds produce colors and how they have different kind of layerings and different strategies to produce these colors and different, you get pigment color and you get structural color. So what we're going to do now is look at color in flowers, because from what I've read, the color blue is quite rare. So I was wondering, and I was talking to James about it as well, the color blue in flowers is particularly rare. There are 280,000 species of flowering plants in the world, and of those only 10% produce blue. So how do they do this, considering that as far as we know there's no natural way to produce the blue? So I have this little experiment going on here. So the way this is going to work is, what I've done is I've taken the petals of 3 different types of flowers, giving 3 different colors. So we have here a Cape honeysuckle that's been smashed up with some water, and then I've extracted the color into this cute little vial. Yes, I know, very cute. Then I've done the same for the sandpaper raisin, who's got lovely yellowy green flowers. And then I've done it for the blue mouse ears, the one I spoke to you about on drive yesterday. And that's blue, obviously. So we're going to very sweetly. I think it's very nice. I take my time doing these things because I like being careful. So there we have one. Be careful not to mix the colors. And then what we're going to do is treat it with a base or an acid and then see what kind of color results. So the theory is that plants that, okay, so firstly they produce two types of pigments. They produce carotenoids, which will give you the yellows and oranges and sometimes a lighter red. And then they produce anthocyanins, which produce dark red. So what a plant will actually do to produce the blue is change the pH of the structure, the molecular structure of the anthocyanin, and then that will change the color to the blue. And we are going to try and do it to the red. And then I don't know what happens with the yellow, so I just thought we could try it out since we found some yellow flowers. And then we'll see what happens with the blue. So pH is potential hydrogen. You'd know from high school that you get a pH scale, and then the lower number, 7 is neutral, below 7 is acidic. That's your things like vinegar, which has a pH of about 3, and then above 7, we have a bubble problem here. Above 7 are called bases. And so what should happen is if we take a little blot, which is what I'm going to do on that paper. Oh, I'm spilling. Why aren't you being good? Problems of a mad scientist. This is what happens when you spend too much time out in the bush. You become mad. Okay, so there we have our cute little vials. Oh, someone says it's magic. I couldn't quite hear that. Tweety something. Sorry, Nina. So here we have our 3 colors. So what we are going to do, let me just move this aside and bring forth our paper. So I've labeled them right here. We have our blue mouse ear, sandpaper raisin, and Cape honeysuckle. And then, yet again, this is very good lab practice, by the way. Don't use the same instruments if you're doing different things. Use clean and new ones. So now I'm going to move on to putting in my base. Oh, just as I said that, I see I only have one dipper. Oh well, I'll have to clean the one with water. So what we're going to do is a little bit of each onto this paper. So let's go with blue first. That's nice. So let's go ahead with blue first. So what I've done is kind of extracted the pigment. And I'm going to add a base. Something is underneath this page. There we go. I'm going to add a base. And the resulting color should be, so the base will remove one hydrogen molecule, and that will make the color lighter. And it is happening. This is quite cool.
Yeah, it's definitely lighter.
So it should get lighter because it's removing a hydrogen atom. And if it removes the hydrogen atom, then it's going to become closer to a lower pH. Which is really cool, so it's going to become more acidic. Oh, my lovely assistant. So that's cool that we added a base. Now, if we add a... Oh, thank you. See, we've got some water to kind of clean it out there. One more time for good measure. Then let us add some vinegar, acid, and see what happens. So the acid will add a hydrogen molecule, And it will, yay! That is so cool! I really wanted to do this live and not actually try it out later so that, you know, we could have, oh, this is so cool. So there we go, it's now become purple. That's super cool.
Look at the difference.
Look at the difference. James says put more and make it red. It doesn't work like that, James, unfortunately. It works with how strong the base is. And because it's only one type of base, it will only become a certain amount. So if I had ammonia or bleach,
you need something more acidic.
More acidic, excuse me. So if I had maybe something a lot more acidic, lemon juice, I don't know, then it would work. But vinegar has a pH of about 3. So if I had something with a pH of about 1, then it would get a nice rosy red color. Now let's move on. I want to do the red because I don't know what yellow does and I've never seen it done with yellow. So I'm going to move on to red and see how that goes. We've just used the vinegar once, so let's do that again. What do we think is going to happen? Remember, the acid is going to add a hydrogen molecule. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, that's so cool. There we go. So you're getting the orangey yellow kind of look. So this is the most important thing that we're going to be talking about, because this is what the plants will actually do. It will have this red color from the anthocyanins, and then it will adjust it using base to create the other colors that we know. So let's try. This is the moment. So hydrogen molecule is now going to be removed from those color molecules. It should go bluey. It's definitely changed composition.
What is your base solution?
It's bicarbonate of soda. It's not particularly strong, but you can see how it's changed the structure of the color. So it would go a violet, purple, or blue. So when plants add a really, really basic, well, actually they don't add anything basic. What they do is they actually remove the one molecule. And then you think of this as assisting to remove the one molecule. So if a plant can actually just physically go and take that molecule out of there in a mechanism that I don't understand, then that would go super blue. And that's how they create the blue. But that also takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. So that's why only a few plants actually have that blue color. Maybe the longer it stays that way, it can get more blue. We'll see. Okay, lastly, let us try the yellow. Now, I don't know what will happen with the yellow, so let's just give it a go. Look how nice the reds become, that nice juicy orange.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go base again. Not too much happening there. It does lighten it a little bit, but anyway, let's see if the color develops.
We need some sodium hydroxide.
That would be awesome. Let us try some acid. Oh, it does have a slight tinge change there to more of a pinky orange. I'm disappointed with my red and the base. Let's see if I put more. Oh, you know, with my biased eyes, I can see some sort of purpley something going on there. I think that's quite cool. So it shows you exactly how petals create the variations in their color, which is really nice. But apart from this, petals also have a cellular structure on top of on the actual petal, a surface structure that also influence the way that the colors change and the depth of the colors. So, and I read something really interesting. So people who work in nurseries and want to do kind of genetically change or modify flowers so that they can turn blue, the way that they decide if something is blue enough and whether it's truly blue is that if it's midday and the flower faces north, and then it's compared to a certain kind of, you know, like when you painting your house and you get that strip of paint, then it's compared to a strip like that of blue only when the flower is facing north at full sun. Then they compare the blue, and then they'll only be able to tell if it's actually blue, which I think is interesting. But that also tells you how much it has to do with the structure of the surface of the flower also. The cone type of cells can focus light, while the other types of cells can scatter light, so you're going to get different types of actual colors resulting from it. Anyway, that was my little bit of mad science for the day. Hope you guys liked it. Hopefully I'll have more experiments to show you at some point. But I definitely will, especially since I have my whole kit here, you know. Dissect some things for you. Do some more things like this. I'd love to. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to clean up now and get my lovely assistant to do the cleaning as well. Let's go to Sydney, who's got something really special for you, I hope.
I am still here in search of Shidulu and the cops. I have just met another car, and this guy has told me that Shidulu went into their property yesterday, and again afterwards the tracks came back to our property. So it means she is still in our property. So the problem is the heavy rains for last night destroyed all the tracks here on the ground. So it's not easy. I haven't picked up any sign. So now I'm gonna go and check the Treehouse Dam area, Twins Dam. Maybe we might be lucky with something that side, because here where I am is so very much quiet. The leopards and lions, they've got a very serious competition. They've got a very serious challenge when it comes to competition. So every time you see the lions, they chase these leopards. So the leopards, when they're lions, they do avoid the lions by all means. So yes, when the lions are present, roaring, when the leopard picks that up, they are not going to advertise themselves as to where they are, because the lions are going to come and chase them. I have seen that happening. My first game drive here in Juma, I witnessed a fight between the avokas who were chasing the three leopards. The three leopards, it was Kuchava and it was Tandi, and I cannot remember who the other one was. Shidulu, if I'm not mistaken. So they were together and they were fighting against each other, and lions were stalking them at the same time. So the lions nearly caught one of them. So you can see it can be very dangerous if the leopards do advertise themselves when the lions are around. So these predators, they even kill each other's babies in order to minimize these competitions. Different species can do that, not only the same species. Still, here is very much quiet, no tracks at all on the road. Call 6. Unfortunately, since I have started, I haven't seen the dung beetles. But I understand it's raining and it's cold. They must have to protect themselves. So these dung beetles must be somewhere hiding at the moment. We will see them when the conditions and the temperature is right, atmospheric pressure is right. They will come out. And something else which is not good for them is that when it's overcast, they cannot fly properly. Dung beetles are a very good pilot, and they can only fly properly when the sun is on the side of their bodies. When it's overcast, they do fly, but they better. I am not even picking up the smell from fresh droppings, because dung beetles, they Romet, I didn't copy your question very well. If you can repeat that. The bark from the trees, some of them are medicinal use. Like if you take the bark of the silver cluster leaf, you can be able to use the inner parts in order to lower the blood pressure. So the bark of the trees, yes, some of them, they taste very well. There's a tree, just that this tree, I don't see it here. There's a tree where I come from, whereby we used to eat even the bark as well as the twigs. They taste very nice. There's a tree whereby you can be able to eat. If I see it here in Juma, I will show you. And it's not, the twigs are so very much sweet, so you can taste that. But some of them, of the trees, the roots as well are very much, they are very much sweet. There is a tree as well whereby I take the roots. That one is a tree that we use. Also, we've got a traditional belief on it that if you eat the roots and you go for an interview or you go and propose a lady, she is going to buy your story because that root is so sweet. It's a very sweet root, and if you chew it before you go for a proposal, So now let's cross over back to the Masai Mara, where Isaac is having the secretary bed.
Yeah, welcome back. And here we have Secretary Bird. Secretary Bird, and it's very busy looking for breakfast. This is a bird that spends a lot of its time on the ground looking for small creepy crawlies like dung beetles, spiders, grasshoppers, little frogs, and of course snakes. Those thin long legs are equipped with very, very heavy and strong bone, and they are capable of stamping and killing a snake with just very few, thumbs or stumps. They feathers on the head resembles Victorian time secretary's pen holder, hence their name secretary. They say it's a myth, but the name comes from there. But if you look clearly, thank you for posing, it looks like a secretary. Short tight pants, high heels, grey coat, a bit of yellow or red lipstick, you'd call it, and it's going to the office, Secretary Bird. But actual name derives from Arabic word Segeteo, which means hunter birds, and its scientific name means Segeteus sapaterius, which a bird that eats snakes. So it eats mainly snakes. Although they spend a lot of time on the ground, they do nest or roost in trees. They pair for life, so they are monogamous. They are in the eagle's family or raptors. It's a bird of prey, and looks like they are not breeding, because when they are breeding you always find one by itself. Oh, that's a nice secretary walk. Maybe it's dancing. Yeah. They actually get active very early. I got active around 5:30. I think I was earlier than them, but from them from around 6 o'clock, they are very active. And when they're two together like this, there's no breeding because, you know, they take great care of their eggs and chicks. So when they hatch, one will always be left behind, looking after the chick or the egg. Sansfar, you ask, you know, how strong is a secretary's kick? Well, I have seen it kill a 1 meter snake, which is 3 feet, with just one stump. So that's how strong they are. In force-wise, I don't think it's ever been measured, but it is strong. It's actually very strong. I've seen them just go thump on the snake. Just, you know, you could tell that they, you know, to push the life out of the snake because it started wiggling and there was no reaction on the head. So it is a very strong kick. I don't think I would like to experience it because it's got very sharp talons or claws. It would cut, you know, through your skin quite easily. Yes, and I think it's an adaptation to have those thin and very scaly legs and very few veins, such that if the snake misses and happens to bite it, you know, the poison won't flow to the heart quite quickly, or actually it would affect it. Otherwise, you know, we won't have this bird here if it didn't have that evolution of having very, you know, very few veins, very strong bones, and very scaly legs. You can tell they've been rained on. They're still drying, quite scruffy. But the sun is coming up and they're going to dry up. I'm sure they have eaten quite a good number of bugs by now. They usually, you know, they will spend lots and lots of hours in the morning just eating and eating and eating. Mrs. Lapwing, do feathers on their heads serve a purpose? No. It is just nature's way that they were created. I think they do look beautiful to us, and also I think they do look beautiful to each other. They don't serve a purpose because they are not thick enough to provide shade for the head when it's really hot, and also yeah, I think that's one of the main, you know, it would be one reason. If they're much thicker, they would protect the head. Well, so I don't think, you know, they have any use. It's just nature's way of that, you know, they've been created that way. Over there, there's the other one. It's somewhere there. I don't see it there. It's over there. They're always... Anna Marie, thank you for your question, and I hope you're having a good morning. I don't know what time it is. It is morning here, so I'll only tell you good morning. They do have 2 chicks at a time because they lay 2 eggs. Like very many eagles, they lay 2 eggs or 2 chicks, although mortality between the chicks sometimes can be 50%, whereas, you know, they practice what is called canism or infanticide, where the older one would kill the younger one. So if one chick hatches one day early, it might be strong enough to be able to push the other egg out. It's a practice that is practiced by most eagles because they want to have all the attention and all the food. Also, if both of them hatch at the same time, the older one will also try to starve the other one and also try to bite it to death and also push it out of the nest. But if they hatch almost at the same time, you know, survival rate is almost 100%. But if it happens that one hatches before the other, it might be the one to survive. So it is 2 eggs most of the time, maybe 3. I've never had, but I've always seen 2. Sherry, good morning. Do they build their nest in trees? Yes, of course. On a very flat tree, like the ones we have here called balanites. Manu, my cameraman, will show you one of the trees, that's got a very flat top. Over here we have a good number of them. You see, like that one there. All the way at the top, they'll put a lot of twigs, and the nest can be up to 3 feet, square. So it's a very, very large nest, able to accommodate, both birds plus their 2 chicks when they grow up. And amazingly is the chicks learn from a very young age not to go or to poop at the nest. They'll always walk towards the edge and then point out their backsides towards the tip or the edge of the nest, and then shoot it out every time they want to go to the bathroom. It's an adaptation, and also, yes, it's something that they learn from a very young age. Okay, I'm gonna move on, see what I can find for you guys, and while I do that, let me send you to Sydney, who I understand has found some elephants.
I have got the big ones here. It's just one elephant, and this elephant is having a very nice beer because he's now picking up all the marulas on the ground, but they are not ripe. I can see it's concentrating on very green marulas. So we found him here. He has been here for a while. I can see a lot of tracks going around the very same tree. He's feeding on both marulas and the grasses that are growing under this marula tree. So I can see one tusk is broken there, the left tusk. So the elephant tusks, they never stop growing. So this kind of animals, they start to decline the body condition when they're about 50 years. So they do have to replace the teeth up to 6 times in their lifetime, and because of that, when they stop getting the new teeth is when they start to decline, because when they break the teeth, they cannot be able to feed nicely, and that is what makes them to starve, and that is how the elephant die normally, starvation. You can see that the trunk is searching everywhere. The feet for the elephant is so very much well designed, because by these feet they have got some kind of receptors. They can be able to feel the vibration when the other ones are communicating with them from far. And this legs has got kind of a shock absorbers. Elephants, when they are running, you cannot hear them making any noise. And when they're walking as well, you cannot hear anything. Unfortunately, because of this enormous body size, this animal cannot jump. Elephants cannot jump at all. Elephant and hippopotamus, unfortunately, they cannot jump. So the males, normally, you will find them just by themselves like we're seeing now. And you will also see some of the males on mast walking just by themselves. They like to isolate themselves also when they are under a condition which is leading them to mate. Unfortunately, mating and ratting, it doesn't work the same, because mating, ratting is associated with both male and females interested at the same time. Here, you might find that the male is on mast, whereas none of the females is on ostrich. So it's unlike ratting, whereby you will see both male and females will be mating at that time. Here, it can happen whereby these kind of animals can go on mast and you don't find any of the females on ostrich. Elephants, they are not seasonal breeders. So you can see that now he is picking up all these amarulas from the other side. So we're just enjoying his flat back. So this is one of the difference between the Asian as well as the African elephants. If you look at the back, the African elephant has got a flat back, and the Asian elephant, they've got a straight back. Daniel, in order to tell the age of an elephant, we have to concentrate on a lot of things. So if you can check as well, the size of the tusks when they're growing can also tell you that this elephant is so old, because the tusk, like I said, never stops growing. And as they're growing, they get thick, and the gap between the tusks as well, it gets broad. So the elephants, when they're standing, can reach up to 5.8 meters. That is when they're fully grown. But they reach maturity when they are about over 12 years, but 20 years is when they are fully grown. Elephants at the age of 18 years, they become independent, and that is when they leave their herds. So the elephants do sometimes compete for mating. These males, they do compete for dominance, but their dominance is determined by the strength. They easily negotiate rather than fighting. When this one, if you look at his enormous body, when he's standing together with the other ones who are much bigger than him, and they are interested in mating, he just have to look at them, and if he sees that these ones are very much big, I can't do anything, then he must just have to then reverse and leave everything. So it's unlike the lions, whereby a big fight must have to take place. Here is easily negotiable. If you can be able to dominate me just by the look, they can see that. The elephants, yes, I haven't seen any elephants trying to chase a snake. Normally, elephants, when they see a snake, they run away. I have seen that happening. One of the elephants the other day was pushing a tree, but that was before I came to join here. And there was a snake, and what made me to see the snake was the elephant running. And then I went there to check what is the problem, and then I saw that there was a snake. This elephant pushed the tree and there was a snake. I don't know if that snake fell from the top or it was coming from somewhere on the ground. But then the elephant ran away. And something you must know about the elephant is that not all the elephants has got tusk. They are some of the tuskless elephants, and they are occurring here in South Africa. If you go to the area of Addo Elephant National Park, in South Africa, is one of the parks which is under the South African National Parks. You will see they have got the tuskless elephants. And these tuskless elephants are those kind of elephant which can be able to adapt the areas even whereby the vegetation is not that very thick, because here by the thick vegetation, the tusks are needed for this elephant to bring back the trees. So those tuskless elephants, they did not lose their tusks from a fight. They are just like that. And when they're breeding and having the tuskless babies. It's interesting. Sandra, these kind of elephants can grow up to 5.8 to 6 meters. That is quite very big. And they can weigh up to 5 tons. If you can work 5 tons, convert it into kilograms, it is going to be about 5,000 kilograms. That is quite a lot. So when the elephants are eating and eating and eating, the Safari Sally, the elephants, they are indeed very much important to the Venda culture. And something important about the elephant and Sydney is that my totem has got something to do with the elephant. I am the elephant, so that is my totem. So when you talk about Sydney, Sydney is an elephant, and Sydney has got a trunk. When we greet while we're still very young, greeting the elders, we are going to say Nda. Nda is just a shortened part of Ndaoyanduna, which means a male lion. The elders are going to respond and say Singo, 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 Singo. Singo is coming from Musingo. Musingo is an elephant trunk. So when saying Singo, 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 it's like Singo, 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 Singo. So that is why I am saying this is my totem. So Ne di singo, rima singo. We are the elephant trunks. And apart from that, the issue of their matriarchal system, it is also something which is guiding us at home. As I come from the royal family, so the elephants, females, those are the ones who are leading, and also the oldest aunts are the ones who are responsible of the royalties. Although we have got the king and chiefs, but when we come to the elephants, ladies first. And when we come to the chieftaincies, ladies first. Now we can cross over to one of my friends.
Hello, and we are back in the tent. It is me again here. I do not have any impressive chemistry experiments to show you, fascinated as I was by that chemistry experiment. In fact, really very interesting indeed, and it'll be very interesting. I'm going to use the word interesting many times during this segment. It would be very interesting to actually get some proper chemicals rather than sort of household goods or kitchen goods, and really spend some time smashing up some flowers and see if we can't extract and do some proper experiments. Very interesting. So thank you for that, Trishala. Thank you. She's giving me the thumbs up. Right, let us go to the microscope. 1, 2, 3. Did it work? Did it work? No. No, I see that it was delayed. Okay, right, now we're on the microscope. There we go. So what we have under here is the cat's tail, or Hermstedia odorata. That is, oh my goodness, and a thrip. So we've got Hermstedia odorata, that is the plant that we're looking at. It's got some beetles living in it, and as we came live with the microscope, there arrived a thrip. Remember, we spoke of the thrips earlier. One of you actually asked if you could see one. It's the first time in the history of all safaris that anybody has requested to see a thrip. Well, there you are. There it is. The thrip is the little yellowish orange gold thing knocking about there on the sort of top left-hand side of your screen. Then we've got some interesting little black beetles, and I don't know what kind of beetles they are. I've not managed to be able to find them, but they are tiny, tiny, tiny things. They are about 0.5 millimeter in length, and I cannot tell you what that is in imperial measure, because I don't think there is anything as small in imperial measure. So 0.5 millimeter in length would be about 1/40th of an inch, I guess. So really small. They would have started out as little larvae, in other words, little worms, and now they have gone through their metamorphosis, and they are now little beetles. And they look like they're eating something there at the base of each of the, what do we call them, florets? There might actually be individual flowers here of this cat's tail or Hempsteadia odorata plant. Isn't that interesting? Now, I wish I could tell you a little bit more about what beetles these are, but I'm afraid they're so unusual that I cannot. But it's a gorgeous picture of them, and the best part of this current picture is that if you look to the top of the picture, you will see that our thrip is staring out at us from the very tip of the top of the picture, which is very cool. In fact, there are a few little thrips, I think.
On the other side.
That's great fun. Anyway, I didn't see any of these things when I put this plant under the microscope. Yeah, Joy, I don't know what that is. I think it's what the beetles are eating, though, and I think it's quite sticky stuff. We can go and have a look outside, but I think that's pretty much what they're feeding on. You'll probably find it's some kind of crystallized nectar, perhaps, from the plant. And interestingly, this plant is used in various parts of southern Africa for the treatment of gonorrhea in men and women. Whether or not it is effective for this use, I could not tell you. But apparently it is used as such. An infusion of the root is taken orally, particularly in Botswana. Wonderful. Raj, you're interested in knowing if beetles sleep or not? You mean as opposed to being just massively lazy like these ones are? Raj, as far as I'm aware, just about all creatures sleep more or less at various times during their lives. Now, that's a typically non-committal answer, but the answer is yes, I think they do sleep. They certainly go into a torpor or a temporary state of hibernation or estivation, depending on prevailing conditions. So, for example, Sydney was talking about the dung beetles today. And the dung beetles, of course, are not out at the moment, and they're not out at the moment because it's been very dry. And so they've gone into a state of temporary hibernation or estivation. They've found a little spot under the ground, and there they've kind of shut down. Now, you know, whether you could define that strictly as sleep or not, I'm not sure, but they definitely go into a lower metabolic state. There's very little activity going on in the brain or anywhere, for as much as a beetle has got a brain. So, yes, I suppose they do sleep to a certain extent. Nothing, to my knowledge, in this environment sleeps like we do for that length of time, especially as long as a guide or presenter is able to sleep. They have an astonishing ability to tell you that they work very hard and still sleep 20 hours a day. It's very impressive. Let's go now back up to the Masai Mara, where Isaac is mercifully awake and looking and finding things.
Welcome back, and here we have one big male lion, and this is Kipuli. Yes, one of the Oldonyo Pike males, and he is relaxed right close to the road. He is right here next to the road. We just found him, he has been lying here. He was seated up when we came, but I think he's gotten comfortable and he has decided to catch up with a nap. It is a nice setting where he is. There's very little grass, and I think it's going to be the type of environment that we are supposed to find lions today. Out in the open short grass is better because it's quite cool. This is a place anybody would like to rest, and especially if you're an animal. I would like to be the same spot with a book and a cup of coffee, if I was allowed, but I think it's better that he is here. It's a nice place, and actually this is the edge of his territory. So from here and where he's facing is towards the rest of his territory. You can tell he has eaten something, I don't know what, because he's very, very full. So he's just digesting it away. Yesterday I saw another male that hadn't eaten like this. It was quite hungry, but this guy has eaten quite well. You see those on his knees? He's got some hairs. And that is a sign of maturity in lions. You'll see that, you know, there to the left there. You see those ones. It's like growing, you know, a beard or a mustache with, you know, a little bit of white in it. So that is maturity in lions. He's a fine specimen, this guy. He's just beautiful. Seeing a lion completes a game drive for most guides, and I think very much as what they are portrayed in the world, a sign of courage, a sign of royalty. You feel, you know, like you're royal. You feel like, you know, you have too much courage. So I feel much better. I wanted to see a lion or lioness, but I'm happy with a lion. Actually, much happier than you know, seeing even lioness. I think a lion is better. Oh, a lion is beautiful. Look at him. Just, you know, has got no care in the world. Remember to talk to me on #SafariLive. You want to know more about these guys? You want to know more about the Masai Mara? You want to know about wildlife? Just James, you asked me, you know, what does Oldonyo Paek translate to? Oldonyo is a mountain or a hill in Masai, and Paek, I think it's an area that's called like that, called Paek. So it's an area called Oldonyo. I think that's where they first seen. There is a mountain called Oldonyo Paek somewhere here. So that is what it translates to. James? Yes, once eaten, lions will rest for many, many, many hours, 18 to 20. And, you know, meat to digest it takes much longer. So that's why, you know, they rest for many, many hours. You know, for a good meal like what he's eating right now, he can go for up to even a week without eating. Tracy, thank you for your question. You asked me, you know, what does kipuli mean? Kipuli in Swahili is an earring. And he did have a cut on his nose here. And if you look carefully, it's healing, but you'll still see there's a little bit of a notch. So kipuli can mean earring or, you know, earring at the nose. So he had a cut and it looked like he used to have an earring. That's why it's called kipuli. Yeah, if you look closely, you see that. It's got a tiny little notch there. Yeah, you see it, where that fly is. Thank you, fly. Right there where the fly is. Yeah, you see that? Yeah. So that's where, you know, it used to be bigger, but we recognized him by that. It's amazing, you know, that, you know, we can always know that's him. That is a very big mouth and a very big nose. Yeah, he's a big guy, this one. Just beautiful. Mr. and Mrs. McDonald, you asked me when does it the mane of a lion turn black? It is depends with genes. Some of them never turn black because either they are blonde and their gene is blonde, and some of them turn black. Sorry. Yeah, somebody is doing some game drives, and some of them turn black because their genes are black. So not all of them turn, But at the age of around from 6, you start seeing if they're gonna turn black or not. And this guy is in his prime. I would say he's around 9 years, so he's doing quite well. And you can tell the mane is much darker. I don't think it's gonna get darker than that. It's going to remain like that. He's got a combination of a bit of blonde and black. So it's very much like us. Some of us, get gray hair very early, and some of us never get it. Or some of us have it immediately when they reach, about 18 onwards. Yeah, it's gonna scratch. I'll let you watch that. He might yawn. Beautiful. See, sometimes you see one like this. Yeah, there we go. He's up. Beautiful. Look at that. Magnificent. Wow. He's gonna mark his territory. Make sure that, he scent marks every corner of his territory. So another intruder coming will know that this territory is owned by them and nobody should be around this area. That is how they communicate. It's like putting gates everywhere in your piece of land and electrifying it. So when you jump it, you will know you're in somebody else's territory. You'll get electrocuted. Boom! Yeah, that is why sometimes we can see lions. When they lie in long grass, they just disappear. I hope you saw that. He's somewhere there. He's hiding. And I think he has noticed that he's very close to the road. And if he stays here, vehicles will disturb him. So he's going to rest there. Okay, I'm going to leave him to rest. I'm going to continue on and maybe try and find the sausages. And while I do that, I'll take you to Sydney. I see what he's doing.
I have got something very much interesting. I have witnessed something interesting this morning, and I'm just going there now. I'm not going to get much closer first. So look what is happening here now on these elephant droppings. We were watching that elephant earlier on feeding on marulas. That elephant came past here and he defecated. It's about less than 5 minutes ago. In less than 2 minutes, already there was this kind of number of flies. Look at that. And dung beetles, they are not yet here. You can see that it is true the dung beetles are so important, because if they don't bury these droppings, these kind of flies are just going to multiply all the time, because these flies are one of those animals who can be able to lay their eggs, and their eggs are going to hatch on this food. So dung beetles will then destroy everything. So flies are so gifted, because every time they land on something, oh, this is still very much warm. Every time they land on something, they can be able to test it just when they land, because they've got kind of test bars here on their legs. And when they fly with a lot of bacteria and germs. So if they land on something you're eating, just leave it, because they can be able to give you quite a lot of diseases. So the flies and the dung beetles, they are controlling each other's population, but the flies don't control the population for the dung beetle. Only the dung beetles too. So this one I just want to open and see. Yeah, this is very, very much warm. So I just want to see if I can be able to get some water from in here, just to check, because I know they say, look at the water coming out. Can you see this water coming out? So this is the water people talk about when they say when you are in the bush and there is no water, you can get the water from the elephant dung. Yeah, the elephant dung has got a lot of water. Look at that. So this is like a soup. You can see even the color. This is the soup for the dung beetles. So the dung beetles must then come here and drink this nicely manufactured soup. So this is what attracts them. And it's not even smelling bad. It's smelling just more like the stomach juice. Stomach juice smells like this. So the stomach juice from all these animals that I have eaten before. So this is the juice which is coming from the elephant, and is the one that normally attracts the animals, such as the dung beetles. So the flies, if you can check them, they don't have anything to chew. So flies, for them to eat, they just have to absorb all the time. They've got that kind of a straw probe where they do, and they absorb this soup all the time. That's why, and dung beetles, the time management is important. Before the droppings dry out, they must come quickly so that they can eat this soup. This soup is more like a marinade, you can see. So these animals are feeding on these droppings with a lot of marinade on them. It's not smelling bad at all. So it's just that I've got to, at least for driving, have something so that I don't then dirtify the things. I've got my water somewhere here. So I'm just gonna wash my hands for the purpose of stirring. If it was not about stirring, I was not even going to wash. Oh, KB is complaining. You know, BK is complaining here about this very placentic smell of the droppings. This is how the elephant dropping smells. It's not bad. It's how they are. So you don't have to worry about this. They will get used to it when going with me all the time. I'm sure he's going to get used to these placentic smells because it's coming from the elephant's body. And now we can carry on. That was a nice juice. I'm still smelling, and it's not bad at all. So I must take a BK to Venda one day and slaughter something so that I can then teach him how to eat the stomach juice from these animals. He will understand. So it is still very much quiet at the moment. I haven't picked up anything yet again. So now I will be going much more towards the Twins Dam. I will be checking that kind of an area there. So now I am going to take you to Koli, who is just by the tent at the moment.
Good morning again. We've exchanged the mic pack with Uncle James and Trishala. What an amazing and epic segment with Trishala. It was so scientific, I couldn't even understand what was going on there. But I've managed to see the change in colors. Water, vinegar, and some bicarbonate powder. My name is Ollie, my name is Claude. Joining me behind the camera is not Uncle James, it's still Step from Kapo. What I want to show you this morning, it's all about the wasps, the paper wasps. And then I would love FC to go to the microscope. Will they go there? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
They'll be there.
Patiently. Yes, what we're seeing right now, it's something so scary, nice and juicy looking. This is not a wasp nest, but it's something similar to a wasp. So that's why I didn't find a nest of a wasp, so I found this gold insect nest. So it's similar, but you know the wasp nest, it has the hexagonal paper cells. So these ones are round, so they are nearly similar to each other, so that's why I used this example. It looks so rusty and nice. So what they do is, the wasp, the female, it emerges from the dipause stage, which I also call it a hibernating stage. She's fertile because she's been mating before with the males. So what she does is she emerges and then she will flies around. It can take up to a day looking for a nice spot to create or construct her nest. So in most cases we see them in the verandas. They love the verandas, and they also can go for a branch. What they do is they will scrape off bark from a plant or tree. Then they will mix it with saliva and form it a pulp. Then they will make this hexagonal paper cells, which are reusable. Then after that they will lay eggs. And that spring, no males and no offspring. It's only the fertilized females. Then they will lay eggs inside there. What they do is, those eggs will go to a stage to be a larvae. Then the larvae would be fed by a masticated caterpillar, where the female queen, she nourishes herself with water and nectar. Thank you, Trishala. And then it goes to spring, it goes to summer. In summer, the larvae, it changes to pupa, and then they form these small little female wasps. So those ones are females because no males are around winter, around summer. I'm sorry about that. Now what they do is the females that are offspring will act as soldiers, helping the queen, which is their parent, to take care of another larvae, to collect food, and to construct wherever it's supposed to be constructed or renovated the nest, because it's reusable. And then what they do is the female will intimidate the young ones while she's laying her eggs and fertilize eggs. Then it goes to autumn. In autumn, the males are born because the female will run out of stored sperms. Stored sperms are these sperms that are inside the wasp that are fertilized. So she will run out of them, then she will give birth to the males. And the males will break up with the females, which are the offspring of the previous nester, I can say that. And then what they do is they will mate with those females and make another colony. So the males in autumn will die there because that's the only time they can survive. You don't find them in any season except autumn. That's what they do. So, and then the females, which are fertilized, will form swarms, and then they will hibernate into a tree cavity or where they will feel safe around that time. That's so amazing. So what happens is that generation will form, that female generation will form into the next generation of queens. I can say that because they will be alone, and they will be supposed to build their own nest. I don't know how they learn how to construct their nest, but automatically they know how to build their nest. And that nest, it consists of two castes, which is called the non-reproductive caste, which consists of the females, and then the reproductive caste that consists of males and a queen. So I wish I had a wasp, but you know, wasps are so, I can say they're dangerous because I know how the feeling of being stung by the wasp, because they have this part where they will sting you, and then that part is not like bees that they will, after stinging you, that they will lose that part, but they can use that part several times, and that's how we have to respect these wasps. So let me check around and see whether I will see something there. Well, the wasps. And then this thing, which is called a gull nest, created by gull ants. I found it from this tree. They prefer this tree, which is a Terminella ceresia, which is a silver cluster leaf tree. I don't know why they prefer this tree, because it doesn't smell nice, and I don't think it tastes very nice. Let's try it. No, trees without thorns. Their tannin level so high, not like the thorn trees. And something interesting on the ground here, we have this horn here. We have this horn that has these things right over here. It looks so scary right now. These are called the clothes moth. These are the only types of insect species that they can deal with keratin. So it's interesting. That's how they create their nest, so that they will breed and form the young generation. So while I'm telling you about this wasp and the life cycle, let's go to Isaac in the Mara, who's looking for animals.
Okay, welcome back to the Masai Mara, and I'm already here at the Sausage Republic. In case you're joining us for the first time, we call this the Sausage Republic because there is a pride of lions that dominate this area, together with the Oldonyo Pike males. There are 5 very strong females, and I haven't seen them for about 3 days. So I'm starting to get the shakes when I don't see them. They have about 10 cubs, and this is their territory, and I'm here trying to find them and see what is happening. The last time I saw them, they were behind me, and that is towards the edge of their territory. So for sure, they must have come this way. So I'm in the heart of their territory now, and hoping I can find them for you guys. And while I do that, we can do a bit of bird watching. And over here I have a little, beautiful bird that Manu is gonna share with you while, we continue on. This is a redneck francolin. Can you stay there for a little bit longer, guy? Okay, sorry. Sorry, that was very quick. Sometimes we cannot, predict what's going to happen, but he's a cutie. Look at him. He's a grass dweller. It's a game bird, one of the game birds, small game birds. They appear for life. So the other one must not be very far, or maybe he's sitting on eggs. And this is the kind of place you see them. Now, the mounds and high grounds are very, very useful this time around when it's wet like this, because it's the only place where they can dry themselves. And that's what we're looking on when we're looking in the plains for the lions. Now, today they'll be, out in the mounds drying themselves, the same as these birds. Yeah, redneck sparrow. A really noisy one when he wants to, but right now I think this one is behaving himself because Manu is here, and Manu doesn't like a lot of noise. So, no. Okay, almost. Yes, he's got beautiful red legs also. Beautiful coat. Yeah, redneck sparrow. Yeah, while we continue looking for the sausages. This is their territory, as I was saying, and you just saw that we saw the big male back there, Kipuli. So I'm suspecting that the rest would be somewhere down this way. So let's go down, join me, and let's go see. Send me all your positive vibes. Let's go find them. It will be nice to see what's happening if we find them, see the cubs, catch up with them, so that we don't lose track of exactly what's happening. It is nice, you know, when you have a pride of lion together with your fellow colleagues that you can talk about, and you've known them for quite a while, and you know who they are, their characters. And so when it goes for about 3-4 days without seeing them, we start asking ourselves questions. And that's why I'm here now, hoping to see them, catch up, so that I don't get asked very many questions by my fellow colleagues. You know, when did you last see them? Have you gone there? You should go there. So I am here trying to find out exactly what's happening. With the sausage tree pride, they are made up of 5 females, and the largest female is called Kinky Tail. She's the mother of the rest 4, and in total together they have 10 cubs of different ages, from around 1 month to about 6 months. And it's getting bigger and bigger, because in total they're 17 together with the 2 males. So if you count the 15 plus 2 males, you know, it's 17. So it's going to be very, very big. And the sausage tree pride are known for killing buffalo. That's why we actually love them even more, because unlike other prides, there was some tracks there. I would like to know who they belong to, because if it's lion, then it will give me a hint. If oh no, actually, yeah, you can see it's a lion, but it's heading in the wrong direction. Manu will share with that to you over here. Well, you know, you asked me that, you know, the black mane comes from more testosterone. I would say that is something that maybe it's written scientifically, but I don't know how I can prove that, because I have no proof of, you know, that it comes from more testosterone. For me, from nature, learning from nature, I think it is natural, you know, if you come from a father with who, you know, grew bald when when he was 30, you become bald. So it's a gene, it's a family tree. If they have black manes, they will get black manes. If they get blonde manes, they will get, and the father had a blonde mane, it will get blonde mane. So I would say could be testosterone scientifically, I don't know, but I would say it's a family tree. But over here, I wanted to share it with you, you know, a lion paw, how it looks. And you can tell that it is here. Those are the paws. This is the pad. This is the front leg, and this is the hind leg. It's much smaller, you can see it. Yeah, very, very small. If I put my mag light, you know, the size from one to the other, see the length, but the size, this is much bigger. Yeah, wider, I would say. Yeah, so he was walking that way. So I'm going the wrong direction, but this one looks like a male. So I would say maybe he's the male we saw back there. He's walked, you know, looking for the girls. But I will continue down this way, because I don't know if I'll find the girls down this way. I think I'll continue this way. My instinct tells me I go this way, so I'll continue. Maybe go around and come back, look this side. But definitely there is a lion, and he's gone this way. And I would say he's the big boy we just seen. Yep. All right. Let's move on. Yeah, it is very, very wet, and this is the only time that we can see tracks, because they are able to dig in. You know, animals can, with their weight, they can leave a paw mark. Otherwise, It's very hard to see tracks in this soil when it's dry. Yes, you know what? I'm continuing to look for something. Let me take you to Sydney and see what he's got.
I am now just passing by that area where yesterday, to those who were with us, I have picked up a warthog screaming here, showing that it is caught by something. So I'm just passing by that area now to see if maybe we can see something up in these amarula trees. But so far, I haven't picked up anything. It looks very much quiet here. So I was hoping to see something up in these trees this morning. There's some artifact holes here. It's not easy to drive. So you can hear the woodland kingfisher. It's just making some noise there at the moment. So now I will be going all the way up towards the Buffalo's Hook Dam. Maybe we might be lucky with Tingana coming back to the property from the Buffalo's Hook. We might be lucky with the tracks that side. So there's only one track on the ground here, which is for one lonely elephant going towards that side of Chitwa. No other tracks. Romet, that is quite a lovely question. My favorite wild fruit, it is the wild midler. The wild midler is my favorite fruit. They call it Vangeria in Foster. That one, I like it a lot because also where I come from, we grow up eating them. Coming back home when there's no food in the afternoon, we used to go there and look for them. So that is my favorite food and it's so nice. I don't see them a lot here. They are occurring here as well. I've seen them, but I don't see them a lot. So that one is my favorite. And my second favorite is the Transvaal Mark Plum. So the Transvaal Mark Plum, we found those ones occurring up by the mountains. It's like a mountain leech. It is so very nice. So they call it a Machalis montanum. So that is their scientific names. So still I'm seeing just one track of the elephant going that way. No cats, no dogs at the moment. So now let's go back to James by the tent.
Hello everybody, it's me back in the tent here. I'm just trying to get a nice exposure on what is an example of Hibiscus micrantha's seed structure, but unfortunately because it's on black paper it's not working. Hang on a second, let me just do this, see if this makes a difference. I will try and show you the actual plant because it's just starting to flower now. Yes, that's better. There we are. Put a bit of light on the subject. Yes. Beautiful. Okay. Right, so there we have the little seed pod of Hibiscus micrantha. And the little seed pod of Hibiscus micrantha there you can see has got lots and lots of little seeds in it. Now, what I was thinking as I was investigating this and hoping that perhaps we might have an insect or something like that climb out of there, was the number of seeds that actually make it to becoming adult plants. Now, potentially every seed in this little pod could become an adult plant. And, of course, I suppose that's the whole principle behind being a peddler of seeds, if you like. But I'd say probably less than 1 in 1,000 become adult plants, and maybe even less than that. So 1 in 10,000 in many cases become actual adult plants, which always seems a tremendous waste to me. On the same subject, the thing creeping under the screen there now is a carrot seed, or Tragus berteronianus, and that is a grass. And Tragus berteronianus, of course, is best known for being the most irritating grass in all the bushveld because of those little burrs that it has. Now, again, each of these little seeds could turn into an adult plant. Probably 1 in 1,000 managed to make it there, but its dispersal method you can see very effectively from this picture. So these seeds stick to absolutely everything: your skin, the hair on your skin, your socks, your shoes, your laces, your shirt, sometimes even your underpants if you're very unlucky, and then let me tell you, it's very uncomfortable. But you can see how they've got those perfectly formed little hooked Velcro-like constructions on the, or burrs, I guess, on the end of each little seed. So that is called Tragus berteronianus, and like I say, so very few of them will actually become adult plants. And I suppose, I mean, if you were to take this to the extremes when you look at discussions like this, if you were to take the number of male gametes, so for example in this particular case it would be the pollen from these grasses, how many millions of pollen grains are produced to produce just one seed? Probably 1 in 1,000,000 maybe make it into a seed, and then 1 in 1,000 of those make it to being a grass plant. So you're looking at, if you are, I mean, it doesn't really apply, but let's pretend that you could be a male gamete, a pollen grain. You'd have a 1 in 1,000,000,000 chance of making a grass plant or being part of an adult grass plant. That's quite something. 1 in 1,000,000,000. So 1 in 1,000 of the seeds makes it to being an adult, I'm guessing there, and about 1 in 1,000,000, let's say, of the pollen grains makes it to being a seed. So we're looking at a 1 in 1,000,000,000 chance, if you are a pollen grain, of making it to actually being an adult grass plant. That is, I mean, those odds are not good. You've got a greater chance of winning the lottery than you do of becoming a grass plant if you happen to be a grass pollen grain. That is astounding. Anna-Marie, I have a degree in general biology. It's not specifically in botany, no. So I'm not a botanist by trade. In fact, I wasn't very good at botany at Boston. I didn't really enjoy it because there was so much sort of parrot learning involved in the initial phases, and I'm not very good at that. As many of you will know, I tend to forget facts because my brain switches off too quickly. Right, here is I'm just going to get this out the way. I found the hibiscus micrantha plant. So this is the hibiscus micrantha plant whose seeds we were looking at initially, and you can see some of them are just starting to flower now. There we go. And they flower very, very briefly indeed. And then they'll disperse their little seeds. 1 in 1,000,000,000 chance. I mean, that is quite something. That's negligible. You would never bet on that. Huh. Never thought of it like that. Okay, well, that's all I really have to tell you about these things. We can continue looking for other things. Let's see what else we can find. While we do that, let us go across to Isaac, who seems to have found something much cuter than that male lion.
Okay, welcome back. We've been very lucky. We have located one cub. I don't know if there is more, but we're gonna show him to you shortly. He's somewhere here. Just went into this. Do you see it? Straight ahead? He's somewhere in the grass here somewhere. Emmanuel tells me you can see him, but I can't see him. He's somewhere up here. Let's see how we can back so we can share them with you, but it's somewhere here. It's somewhere there. Oh, there it is. There. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Yeah, there. Oh, there are two of them. See them? Yeah, they are right there. In the grass there. See them? They're moving a little bit. Yeah. I don't know how many there are. I just spotted one. But then we just drove here and now we can see two. So I don't know how many they are, but for sure they look like they are Meaty's cubs. Meaty's cubs are about, they're heading towards around 9 weeks now. So they're quite big. Yeah, you see, they're peeping at us. I don't know if I'll be able to move forward a little bit so that we can maybe have a face. Just hold tight. Manuel? Can you see them better from there? Let's have a look. Maybe. Can I? Oh, there are three of them. Nice. I see three now. That's a really nice spot. They're very well hidden. Hi, guys. How are you? Nice to see you. It's been a while. Yes, it's me. Yeah, there's supposed to be 4. I don't know how many there are over there. But I think I'm going to chill out here. So bring in your comments. Your beautiful comments, as always. Your nice questions, as always. And, you know, let's wait it out here and see exactly what's going to happen, if we're going to see if they're 4 and if Meaty is around here or not. It is going to be very interesting the next few minutes because I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But definitely there are 3 cubs. I have seen them. But I don't know who else is here. Remember, we do have very new ones that I haven't seen. I haven't seen Kinky Tail's 2 cubs. Sarah, thank you for your concern and your question. How did I find them? We just drove with instincts from where we saw that lion paw. We decided not to follow the lion paw because it was headed in the wrong direction. And we decided to follow our hearts. We crossed this stream and I turned left. We saw some hyena tracks. We decided to follow the stream one side. And while we were driving, I saw this, little face peep out and then disappear. And as I pointed out, Emmanuel said, cub. And that's how we found them. Sometimes, it's pure luck, but also a little bit of knowing, what to look for. There he is, one of them. Beautiful. I think they're exploring. So that's how we found them. Oh, there's another one to the left. Oh, we hadn't seen that one. Marcy, you asked me if the sausage tree cubs are threatened by Kipuli. No, he's one of the dominant males here. That is the pale one. There is one that is very pale, and that is the last one. So they are not threatened at all. In fact, he's very protective of them. Yeah, he could be the father, actually, of some of them. So he's not He's not a threat at all. Yeah, if I was to tell you there is lions there or there's cubs there, you would say, no, you're lying, Isaac. You've been drinking the whole night. You see your own things, or you've been smoking, you know. But the truth is, there is, I think, 4 beautiful cubs inside there, and they've been told, and they do know when their moms tell them, you know, I'm going shopping. When I say shopping, it's not supermarket, it's hunting. You know, he portrays this body language, and they learn very quickly that mom wants us to be here, and she's going to look for food, and when she's got food, and if it's close, she's going to come and fetch us. And so they stay in one spot, and this is the cage here, and they know how to behave. They don't come out into the open where they can be detected by hyenas or, you know, big eagles. So they stay there, and I would say these guys are big enough right now to intimidate smaller things, and they can growl quite a bit. Yeah, you can see the movement there. Definitely there's a cub moving around there. They were born not very far from here, actually about 300 meters. That's where they were born. And then they were moved upstream about 1 kilometer. And then they've been all over. I think they're only about 2.5 months, but they've almost walked all over their territory. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna come out. I doubt it. But now I have somewhere to come in the afternoon, but I'm not leaving here. Makeable, is that makeable? I am sitting around, it's around, maybe around 19 meters. It's quite a long way from where I am. It's quite a long way. It's around, maybe, you see how far it is? We have to zoom in. About 20 meters, 22, something like that, 19 to 20 meters. So it's a long, long way. It's not very far from the truck, so it's comfortable distance. So it's a long way. I'm not, you can tell they're not worried about me. They're doing their own business. And that's one of the distances that, they feel comfortable with. Yes, it will be interesting to see what's inside there, because it looks like a very comfortable spot. It looks like an old gully that's overgrown with bushes. So there might be a little jungle gym under there, or some bouncing castles and toys inside there that they're using to play, because I don't see much movement. So there must be lots of big space inside there. If they were there, I would have just driven past them without even noticing, they're here. If that one didn't come out, I would have just driven past. Yeah. I don't think there's any other lion around here. I don't think there is. I think they were left here. Yeah, there's nobody else here, I think. And they're resting in there. Well, what I think I'll do, I know they're there, and they should be hidden when their mom is not there. So I won't stress myself, and I won't disturb myself or disturb them. What I'll do is I'll leave them to rest, and I have a mission in the afternoon. I can just come, rest, and I'm sure I'll see them. Okay, and while I leave this spot that I will come in the afternoon, let me take you away to my colleague in Juma, Sydney, and see what he's looking for.
I am now driving here by the Buffelshoek cut line to see, as I indicated, if Tingana is not back here to the property from this side to this side. We might be lucky if he's moving around now after the rain. But if he crossed before the rain, then it will be difficult for me to tell. But I am checking thoroughly here on the ground. I haven't picked up anything yet. Nothing, no tracks. See, the squirrel is just running in front of me here. So that squirrel is right on the road and now stop, look. Every time he's lifting. So the squirrels are one of those animals which has got a very good eyesight and can also be able, look at that, it's going very fast. And they can also be able to see some of the colors. They can easily recognize colors. So the only part of the squirrel is that they cannot vomit. So when they ingest poison, they cannot vomit it. So they must just have to eat the soil. They know what to do after ingesting poison. Because they cannot throw up, they go and eat the soil. And the soil helps them in order to stabilize that kind of a poison. Enough.
Ramblings and sorry about that. We had a technical issue there. Hope we will fix it. So we have he's cleaning the tent. We had some water in the tent from this morning rain.
Let James out maybe first.
Yeah, let me let Uncle James out first. Thank you. So, my previous segment was complicated, very complicated, because I didn't have an actual wasp nest, so I used the gall ant's nest. So now I have this beautiful, good-looking grasshopper. It's still alive. I'll be extra careful, and when I'm done with this, I'll take it back to the grasses. So I want to show you something about this. I want to talk about its digestive system, but I will first show you the mouth parts of this beautiful caterpillar we have here. Oh, a grasshopper we have here. Sorry about that. So I would like FC to go to microscope so that we can show all these beautiful. Okay, nice one. I will use my acacia thorn to show you the parts of the mouth. Here on top we have the upper lip. You can see this, the upper lip. And then we have the maxillary pulp. And then down there we have the mandible. And then just bottom of the mandible we have the maxilla.
Okay.
And the maxilla, after that we have the lower lip there. And then you see these things like hands here are called the labial pulp. These are the things, or the parts that helps with feeding. So they grab the grasses nicely there so that they can easily chew and digest it. And then turn it onto the side. I think, yes, here. And you'll ask yourself how these grasshoppers here, they don't actually have the eardrums on their heads, but you can find the eardrums just right at this part between the body and the hind legs. This part here is an eardrum, and look how nice it is looking. So I will be talking about digestive system. So it starts here. It starts here and it goes to the front gut. That's the first part of the stomach, and then it goes to the second part, which is called the mid gut, and it goes to the last part, which is called the hind gut. And the front gut, it consists of the mouth that we can see right now, and then it goes to the pharynx, and then we have the esophagus. We have the esophagus, and then in that front gut you find crop. This part where it's called crop, which is called crop, and it helps for digestion and absorption. Then we go to the second part, which is a mid gut, which is there's a stomach there, and then the stomach, I think there are chemicals that digest the food. So I didn't get the right information about the stomach, the chemical in the stomach that digests food, but that's where digestion happens. So the part between the foregut and the midgut, it's called a gastric cecum, but you can also call it a gastric ceca. Going to the last part of digestion. The last part is this one here. You can see over here it's called a hind gut, which consists of a rectum that reabsorbs the salt and water. So interestingly, the part between the midgut and the hindgut, it's called a Malpighian tubules, which is, it also extracts water, salt, waste products, and toxic chemicals. And going back to the hindgut, which it has a rectum, that's where the feces or the droppings are stored, because they need to get out of the body. So that's when you'll find those things. And what an amazing insect over here. A grasshopper, not a grasshopper, yes. Sorry, buddy, you can see there's some fluid coming out from the mouth there. It's because it is stressed, and I'm not hitting it. It is just stressed. So I will quickly take this away from here on this microscope and take it back to the natural habitat. I will go off the microscope. Yes, let me take it back. And then there's this interesting thing I want to show you in a microscope. A microscope which is called, yes, this guy has to go. Yeah, thank you, buddy, for a segment there. Let's do this interesting thing that Seb from Gabon was looking at, this snake, and see what's happening here, because I saw something interesting with this thing. So it was good looking. And Uncle Seb, will you help me with this one? Because he was, oh, let me turn it around. Is it good here? What's that part, Uncle Seb? Uncle Seb, I want that part where you were busy with before you went live with this.
Yeah, carry on focusing.
Yeah, yes. This is a snake skin. You can see this one, it's been taken off this snake body because it needs to shed its skin. This is beautiful. You can see the scale formation there, and I don't know which snake is this, but it might be a spotted bush snake. The snakes you can find mostly around the tent. I've seen them before, so I think that this is it belongs to it. It's good looking. It's so nice. So it takes up to a day or a few hours to shed the skin. Yes, Jerry, what a nice question. You'd like to know that, do I have a favorite snake? Yes, my favorite snake is called rankles. It's one of the highly venomous snakes. Why I like the snake is because its survival skill. It can practice thanatosis, which it can fake death. So if it's provoked, it will pretend as if it's dead, and then you will go there, and then you want to pick it up, and then it will strike. That's what it does to avoid sometimes conflict or predation. And we find a lot of snakes in here, but it's so difficult to see them. One of our guides is so lucky to see a snake like Sydney. It's seen some snakes in the reserve, but I haven't seen a snake since I came to this place. I would love to see an African rock python. And it's so easy to track it if you can see its track, because I've done that before. When I was at the college, we've tracked and followed the python, and then we found it in the hole. So let's leave our snake and see what else we can find, because there are a lot of things we can find in this bush. Oh, now I remember, before I go out, we have a horn here. We have a horn here. This is a springbok horn. I had a question yesterday that if impalas lose their horn, does it head or not? If you can check here, these horns, they are attached. They are attached with the with the head. So probably it will head like nobody's business if this horn can break here. Obviously there will be a wound or blood coming out, and that impala or springbok can survive if it's lucky, and it won't survive if it loses a lot of blood. So while I'm holding a horn that represents my national team, let's go to Sydney and see what he has for us.
Okay, apart from the game, I've now
They are in fact still alive.
still live.
Sorry about that, technical issues again. Whew. Let's see what we can find. We have this huge, humongous skull over here, which it belongs to an elephant. And you know the rhino skull can't be this big, won't be this big because of the size. Here sits the eyes, this is the forehead, and then the trunk goes from here to there. And so I'm looking at this big and beautiful skull over here. Let's go to Isaac and see what he has for us.
Okay, welcome back. I'm out in the open place now, hoping to find the rest of the sausages. But it's quite an open area and the grass is very tall, so I don't know. But actually I have a mission, I have somewhere to come to. I hear lots of you are asking if I'm going to go to the river. The river is a long way from here, and if I do, I'll lose all the time that I have. So I would prefer to spend the rest of the last few minutes here, and maybe in the afternoon or maybe tomorrow, maybe go to the river, so that I can satisfy everybody. But I'm in Sausage Republic, and when we say the Sausage Republic, it's a pride of land that we call the Sausage Tree Pride, and the main reason is one of their members who is called Meaty, loves climbing trees, and one of the trees she climbs a lot is the sausage tree. A sausage tree is a tree with the very roots are eaten rust bones, and we use it traditionally to cook a type of brew that it tastes like wine, very sweet. And if you're not careful, if there's a ceremony, mostly it's made when there's a naming of a child. In my tribe, when a child is born, he's not named immediately. He's given time up to around 30-40 days, and then after that, it's shaven. After shaving, that's when it's given the name. And usually there's a small ceremony where sacrifice is given, or a blessing. And also during marriage, during initiation, this tree is used to cook a certain brew called moratina. And moratina is a sweet sour, it's a sweet actually wine that you can drink quite a lot. If your tummy is not very good, it might go through you. And if it's very good, you might hold it. But once you've taken quite a good amount of it, you can speak any language, including Mongolian. You can speak Mongolian. Yes, so it's quite lethal. I will be showing you the tree, and it's very common around this area. We just went past one, but remind me in the future when I'm here and ask me, Isaac, can you show us a such tree? And I'll have no otherwise but to show you the sausage tree. So, and I can see already there's an audience of vehicles, the lesser crested Land Cruisers. They're already close to where the lion is, and actually I think they found it. So they're having a good look. So we're heading there where we're gonna see how far he's moved or what he has done. I don't know if I'm talking to everybody who was here earlier on, but we did come across a very big male lion, and he was right very close to the road. And I've done a very big loop, and now I'm headed back to where he was. So let's go see what he's doing. This guy, I know him, is called Kipuli. Although I might say, it might sound like he's a human being, he's a lion. He's on 4 legs and very big. I don't think he knows even my name. I don't know what I stepped over. Okay, yeah, we're going there. So continue to engage me, #SafariLive. You say, what airport? If you came from London, you would land in Nairobi. There he is. You land in Nairobi, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. That is the airport you land. It's a big one. And then coming here, you'll take a small flight. It takes you about 45 minutes to fly. And there are very many. You could even take a helicopter if you want. Looks like Kipuli is coming this way. I can see him. Manu is going to do his magic with his camera, and you're going to see him. He's walking in the long grass over there. And that's how tall the grass is. You see how much you see, That's him. Look at him, beautiful. Wow. Yeah, he's coming right towards us, so I'm going to stick here and see, what happens. Okay, I understand Sydney, my colleague in Juma, has found some lions, so let's take you to Sydney.
I have got something very much beautiful here. This is the animals I was checking, and I found them. So you can see they are right here. They are right here in front of us. We have got the lions. So maybe this is the Unkuhuma. So you can see one female is just there now. So let me just drive around so that we can have a better sighting. As I can see, it's going to be lovely from the other angle. Yeah, from this side is going to be much better. Much better. Yeah, you can see they're all here. Yeah, so the tracks are coming all the way from Sydney's Dam, and I could see that they were hunting because the tracks were just going in the bushes and coming out, and they are just about a minute away to enter the Buffalo's Hook. So they're between the cut line and the fire break. So look at that. See, the lions, after lying down for a long time, they leap, but this one is not limping. You can see that they have just arrived now because I saw two females then coming this way. Good morning, all stations. This is Sydney. I have got the Unkuhumas just by the turn-off entrance, Buffalo's Hook on Buffalo's Hook cut line. So it is time for the Unkuhumas to lie down at the moment. They might be here for the whole day, but I'm just worried that they are so very much close to the border. So, but where they are hiding, I can promise you, it's not easy to see from the road. So when I saw them, I thought maybe they've got something to eat here, but I can see they're just very much relaxed. So I'm just going to again change the positioning and see if we can see them better from the other angle again. Gary, this pride is the one which had the two Mangeni males which was having problems with mange, but at the moment I'm not seeing any of those Mangeni males here. But I know, yes, the Mangeni males were part of this Unkuhuma pride not long time ago. They were forcing themselves to join the Unkuhuma pride. Yeah, now we can have a good sighting. This is going to be nice and clear here now. Look at them. They are so stunning. Oh, it's time to sleep again. Good morning, all stations. The Unkuhumas are by the fire break between the Buffalo's Hook cut line and the Juma cut line. So there's quite a lot of flies troubling them. To see if the mating is successful, it takes time because then that has to be determined by the size of an animal as the pregnancy is developing. So the period of pregnancy is just about 3 months. It's about more than 90 days. So if you can check after mating, they start to change the body and they start to gain weight. And the size of the stomach will then tell us if it's successful or not. So we are expecting a lot of babies here. So now let's go back to Trishara with the hairy bug.
Yes, you are back with me. Happy as always. You know how I love these little things. Now, Rolly was talking about the snake skin a little bit, and I also wanted to say a little thing about it because I learned something really cool about snake skin. And we always know that snakes can shed their skin, but do we really know the mechanisms behind, excuse me, how they actually do that, which I found really, really cool. So what the snake skin actually is like our own skin. There's a layer of epidermis, and then you have that scale, which is just literally folded bits of skin. And there's connections between the skin that's dead, the skin that's alive, and all the layers of the epidermis cells between those. So what actually happens when the snake decides that it's going to shed its skin is it actually sends liquid from its lymph nodes through or between the dead skin and the skin that's alive, and it separates all those connections. And that's when you get the pale sort of outside skin like we've seen with Goli under the microscope. And then what it does is it puffs up its head a little bit by swelling the blood vessels and arteries in its neck or in the head area, and it swells it up and creates little cracks, and then the snake will begin to rub itself on anything nearby and begin to peel that off. I think that's quite cool. So even all these typical things, the common things we know of, why flowers flower, why snakes shed their skin, they all have quite a cool mechanism behind it. It's always nice to understand those things. So that's my little 2 cents on the scales there of the snake. So I'm just going to remove that from the microscope, and then I'm going to talk about my actual subject, Mr. Caterpillar here. Well, let's look at him without the microscope first. Now he's in quite an awkward position for Seb.
Maybe if you turn the Tupperware around, please.
Let's actually turn him.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. There's a bit of a better angle of him. So you can see him. I can't tell if he's the caterpillar of a moth or a butterfly, but he's definitely one of the two, Lepidopteran. And you can see that he's quite hairy, and he's kind of exuding this little bit of liquid, kind of black liquid. Now I have a theory on what the liquid is, but I'll have to speak about something else before I can actually tell you about this theory. So let's talk about him and his structure firstly. So he is, of course, the larval stage of a moth or a butterfly. And can you see the way that he walks? So we know that insects have 6 legs, and that's what is one of the defining characteristics of an insect. And you will find, actually let's just put him on the table. I think this will be easier. Come, little guy. Okay, we're just going to wait for him to feel comfortable and walk off onto the table, just like that. So we know that the defining characteristics for an insect is to have 6 legs, and this doesn't change even when they're in these other forms. And you'll see that he has these 6 legs in the front, which are his true legs, and then he has sort of these, there's about 5 pairs of false legs. Come, little guy, come out this side. Maybe if I leave a leaf for you, you'll come out here. Now those legs that you can see is the one that helps him move. They are the ones that help him move up and down. Ah, there he's demonstrating for us just exactly how he can do that. And those legs only help, or only exist when he's in this form. And they help him to grip, and they're quite sticky, and they have pad-like parts at the end, so they help him to climb up just like he's showing us right now. Now, I've read that those legs actually work in sort of a hydraulic function, or there's a hydraulic function associated with the way that they work, and that if they're disturbed, they can often squeeze some of that hydraulic substance out, which possibly is what that little bit of liquid we see him pushing out is. Look at how he uses those legs. And you can sort of see that they're not quite real legs. Come outside, guy. No, he's not coming outside. I might need to tip him over, we'll see. Maybe a leaf will coax you. Please? Please? There we go. I had to assist him there. No caterpillars were harmed in the forming of this portion. So you can see that he's very hairy, and sometimes these hairy bits can irritate the skin. I'm taking a chance here, but I'm putting my nail there. Hello. And you can also see that there's different colors on him, and certain parts of the hairs stand out a lot clearer than the other parts do. And that's because he's trying to defend himself against parasitic wasps. Yes, you are. So parasitic wasps, when they lay the one egg that they lay in a caterpillar and then multiplies to the exact number that that host caterpillar can support, then they actually have little bits. Sorry, let me just try and move him back in. Oh, sorry, guy. They have little bits kind of sticking out of them that other young caterpillars who have. He's playing with me. Hello. Very cool. So some caterpillars, once they are parasitized, they have these little bits sticking out of them, and then in order to deter a parasitic wasp from landing on them, they make themselves look like they've already been parasitized. And that's exactly what these kind of dark hairs that are sticking out are doing. So, very, very cool. Anyway, he is very much my friend, and I am going to leave him outside, I think. Come, friend, let's go back outside. In the meantime, while I put my little friend away, let us go over to Sydney, who has those lions.
Something has just happened here. You can see all these lions are up and they are so inquisitive. They did pick up an audio of a helicopter passing by very far and all decided to wake up at the same time, jump and look around. So now they have judged the situation. They are not threatened anymore. They are again starting to lie down. So their reaction was so very much quick. So I can see if anything comes here, when they're lying down flat like this, still they can be able to react and take action. So a few of these females must be expecting the babies anytime soon. It's going to be lovely here anytime soon. So I didn't even count them, how many this morning, because they are so separated here. Some are deep in the thicket, so it's not easy to count how many exactly they are at the moment. But let's hope they are still here in the afternoon. So I have not yet picked up the Mangeni. I have not yet picked up any of the Mangeni males here, the mangy ones. But the last time I saw the Mangeni males, they were slowly recovering. They were looking much better. There was a big difference between when they arrived and when I last saw them. So I can hear they are breathing, they are so enjoying. And then these Unkuhuma lions are bringing us to the end of the show. And let me say, it has been a privilege having you as part of our viewers this morning, and thank you very, very much for all your questions and comments. Hopefully we will meet again this afternoon.